Hello, friends. So happy to have you for this episode of the Enneagram and Marriage podcast. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas season. If you are right now listening live, you know we're at the tail end of 2024, and just 2 days before Christmas, I have all of my shopping done. What about you? I only have a few gift cards to send remotely, and I am good to go. I feel really good about that, and I hope you do too. I cannot wait to give my family a hilarious gift. I'll tell you more about next week in case any of them are listening. But I was creative at the end of the day. I struggled a little bit with that. I hope you were creative too, but if not, that's okay. They know you love them. Today, we are talking about how to avoid extremes. I was actually inspired by Ecclesiastes for this episode because I was reminded in Ecclesiastes 7 that a person is wise who avoids extremes. And that was 7:18 in Ecclesiastes. And I really love that verse because it reminds me of the instincts. We think a lot about how do we give out socially? How do we do with our one-to-ones? How do we spend time on our self-pres and do it well so that we're avoiding extremes of all kinds? And that is such a key player in marriage because when you have a good balance of all three of these, yes, there's going to be some conflict and friction because you're going to still need to do that, but you're going to have a beautiful rhythm that you're dedicated to that will help you through that because you'll know, okay, if I had a little bit of an issue with this one, I'm going to jump over here, talk to my friend, go get my workout on. Or if I had one over here, I need my group time. And so it just continues to flow. And then you learn and you put on expansiveness in each of these centers when you're allowing yourself this balance of all three. Now, you're still going to end up being whichever one is your top place of desire or instinct, whether it's the self pres, the sexual, or the social. But today, I am giving you a chance to just process how you can learn from all three of those and celebrate the one you are really great at and hopefully refine all of them. I am bringing on my husband, Wes, today to do this with us because he is an opposite of me. And so while you normally get me at the end of his week off, I'm giving you a chance to hear from him, somebody who's totally different mindset about how to process desire and instinct, not only being male versus female, but also really being high on the social. And it's just been such a blessing to me and so expansiveness creating to have somebody like that. And it's your secret sauce when you have a family member, friend, or spouse who is opposite of you because they carry a part of the world you don't carry and they bring you to it. And so I hope I've had that impact on Wes for taking care of himself and his one-to-one. And I believe he's had that for me on social. It's like social so big for him that that's almost everything, as you'll hear him saying. Whereas I really have like high, almost like 10 out of 10 on the other two. And then social's low for me. So can't wait for you to hear this episode and learn. Make sure you go at it with taking one thing. We also have, if you're looking for a last minute stocking stuffer, you'll see in the show notes a sale at enneagramandmarriage.com. You can save 50% on our instincts and desires uh, stocking stuffer. And that way you can gift this to your partner if you would want to. And that is with the code SAVE50. Or you can just look at the show notes and find it there. Either way, let's talk to Wes. And you also know there's a ton of freebies on the page if you're looking for freebies as stocking stuffers. Paper wraps beautifully. So do not hesitate to grab any of our paid or freebie items for your last minute Christmas presents. I love making sure you guys are set. Okay, let's talk to Wes. Wes, so happy to have you on the Enneagram and Marriage Pod today.
I'm glad to be here.
Well,
Grateful.
yes, it's so fun to have you. I wanted to go over a little bit of some of the things we've been talking about all year. You know, one of the topics I've been talking about all year has been instincts and desire. And
Yes.
you have such a strong social desire. We cannot wait to hear how you trying to balance self-pres, sexual, social has gone all year. So thank you for coming on. How are you today? I kind of know, but yeah.
It's been a good day.
Yeah.
Mm. I'm at the end of my vacation week, so rested. We've had
hmm
a lot of fun, made a lot of great memories, had a lot of fun last night with our Christmas party and
Yes, that was really cool. We had two Christmas parties this week, one for our staff,
yeah. Oh yeah, right.
and then
For the
tell
yeah.
about last night.
Then last night we had a mystery dinner party game here from
Hmm.
one of our Supper Sleuths murder mystery dinner games. This time we did Crime Scene Christmas.
Yes,
It's
it's
really fun.
so fun. I love
Everybody
that.
laughed their heads off.
Yes, and it was such a work of labor of love when we made it, and yet we have
Yeah.
so much fun playing it.
Oh, every time. And
Yes,
everybody who plays just laughs so much. And it's just,
that's
I'm
the
really
best
glad,
part.
because specifically the people that we invited, they need a good laugh, you
Yes,
know, and
absolutely.
they got one.
Yes.
We laughed our heads off for a good 3 hours straight, but
Yes.
that's
Aw.
great. It was really fun. But we've had a lot of
Aw.
fun this week. It's been a lot of good stuff, so I'm really grateful. And then it's nice to cap it off with a way to team up with you and help you
Hmm.
any way that I can and help these good people, whoever wants to try to learn from what little I know.
Well, I'm grateful because you are a perfect specimen to analyze on the social
Okay.
levels. So let's put my little nerd hat on. And looking back, when did you, Wes, first notice your natural pull toward group dynamics and community building? What made you realize this social instinct was such a core part of who you are?
Okay. That's a deep question.
Yeah.
Got to go way back.
Yes.
Social. I've always been social, like wanting to have friends, wanting to be around other
Mm-hmm.
people, friends and family, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved school because there's so
Hmm.
many people there, that you get to interact with every day, and
Yeah.
they can be your friends. And
Yeah. Aw.
I love I loved being on teams for sports, like
Mm-hmm.
always loved it.
Mm-hmm.
When did I first notice that though? I don't know, man. That's going way back. I think, I was raised on like Sesame Street, like old school
Mm.
Sesame Street
Yes.
and Mr. Rogers and stuff like that. So it's like everybody's your neighbor, everybody's your friend.
Mm.
Even the monsters that look a lot different than you.
Yes.
And but I took that to heart, and
Mm.
I would be that kid who would
Mm.
be just walking up and down the street. Hey, my name is Wes. Will you be my friend?
So cute.
Like that's literally I met my two best friends when I was a kid at like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of like that, aren't I?
Yes, you are still
Everywhere
like
we
that.
go, I'm always ready to meet a new friend. And so I don't know, maybe it's something that was taught to me, like from
Hmm.
those shows and from my parents and
Hmm.
from school and teams and stuff like that. But also it's been like reinforced, like it just, with positive feedback. I mean, it feels really good when you have people who know you and like you and who seem to be blessed by you, that you
Hmm.
can make laugh or that you can just, uh,
Hmm.
have interesting conversation with or just play with or, you
Hmm.
know, um, that's needed. We need that. All of us need that. And
Hmm.
it felt really good. And it seemed like other people enjoyed my company. And so I just wanted to do it more and more, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm still like that. I love, but sometimes I get to the point where I feel guilty if I'm not doing that, like I
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it so much, but I also, it's not just about me. I feel like obligated to do it in a sense.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've wondered about for years and years. And then you've kind of helped me to see with this personality stuff that might be part of just my makeup, who I
Hmm.
am, that's built into me,
Yes.
that I'm made to be a friendly person and made to be a very social person. So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And
maybe that's
there's
the way God made me.
Yeah, obviously. And I think that when you say, sometimes I feel obligated to be that, those are probably moments where you're able to learn stepping out into your other instincts is also okay and
Yeah.
allowed. I think that's been enormous
Yeah.
for you. Okay, so we know self-pres is not your default mode. Can you share a challenging experience that taught you the importance of taking care of your self-care needs with knowing how much you would otherwise just rally for constant social? Like, what lessons have you learned that have taught you that you still need to take care of you, even in the midst of all your giving?
That's a good question. That's probably there's been a lot of experiences in life where I've, had to learn that the hard way. I mean, I can think about, I had this like kind of like an existential crisis back when I was in my early 20s
Mm,
with respect to anxiety and being
mhm,
worried about a possible pandemic, which was just totally made up in my head. But with respect to the anthrax scare, in
mhm.
after the 9/11 attacks,
Yeah.
and I was being very social, if you remember. I mean, not
Hmm.
just like, like working. I had to be out working. I had to be out,
You were a
which was
teacher?
very social. I was working as like a sky cap.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm
Okay, you
talking
weren't
way back.
teaching
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
Yeah,
early, yeah.
college.
Where you have to just be talking to people, making connections, helping them with their luggage. And then I was very active at school at Wayne State and InterVarsity Christian Fellowship,
Hmm.
and doing evangelism and Bible studies and large group meetings and stuff like that. And,
Hmm.
interacting in your classes and stuff. And then spending time with you in every other spare moment,
Hmm. Hmm.
and with family and stuff. So it's like there wasn't a lot of time where I was kind of trying to take care of me. I wasn't
Hmm.
exercising much. I wasn't definitely wasn't sleeping on a regular schedule. I'd be up all night at the airport waiting on flights and stuff. And
Hmm.
poor college student, I was not eating well at all.
Hmm.
Whatever was in the vending machine. And so it was, yeah, I think part of it, why I suddenly started having this really strong anxiety, like even anxiety attacks. If you
Hmm.
remember, like
Hmm.
it would be like paralyzing anxiety. It was terrible. And
Hmm.
so I needed to learn how to deal with that, and I did. I got
Hmm.
some medication that I used as a bridge for a short time.
Hmm.
I got counseling
Hmm.
and got really, serious about learning, about my faith and how that, and
Could comfort you.
yeah, the memorizing verses about, anxiety and fear and courage. And then I also started exercising more. I mean, you and I started running a lot,
Hmm.
and I started doing a lot of just calisthenics, body weight stuff, push-ups and stuff all the time. Everywhere where I was at, I would just do them like all day. Especially if I started getting anxious, like right away, I'd start doing it. It would really help.
Hmm.
Um, so that eventually went away. It's just like
Hmm.
God kind of gave me victory over that. I think especially after I had learned, a lot of these wonderful tools about self-care,
Hmm. Hmm.
how to make sure that you have a very regular sleep and wake schedule. You get quality sleep, you eat well, you support your brain because it uses a lot of the energy,
Hmm.
that you consume every day. And you, take time to pray and think on those verses and on things that you're grateful for and who you're grateful to. And I
Hmm.
learned a lot of really great tools. And I think that's why I became victorious over that huge, issue for me. And now here I've been in medicine practicing in
Yeah.
a real pandemic, not just an imagined one,
Yeah.
with zero anxiety,
Mhm.
and I got through that whole pandemic without any medication, just keeping a positive mindset, framing things in the right light,
Mm.
knowing my role is to serve like a hero, even if I
Mhm.
did get COVID and God forbid, was in the hospital or died. I mean, what a way to go,
Yeah.
I mean, that
Hmm.
changes everything, how
Yes, it
you
does.
frame it.
Hmm.
So, but I think I was able to because I had learned how to take care of myself and my basic needs. I'm
Hmm.
still working hard at that. I mean, all of us, we need to just make it intention. You got to be intentional. You got to make a plan, and you
Hmm.
just stick to it, and you just keep taking care of yourself so that
Hmm.
you have something to give others.
Yes. And once you develop plans, you're high on efficiency on your Myers-Briggs. In addition to your Enneagram 1, you do well, but sometimes you need the sustainability checks. So I've seen
Mm-hmm.
you do that where you're
Mm-hmm.
like, I'll do a sleep study. I'll have a nasal surgery if I need to. I'll go. Everyone here on this podcast knows you even had a collarbone injury and you
Ah, okay.
even some
That's another one. Yeah.
yeah, you've had like this is what I always tell my clients. This is why I bring it up. You said it, but it's like sometimes one bad thing happens, like an anxiety attack, and you need to do five things to get through that. Like you said, a bridge of medication, this or that, counseling, exercise, really sharpening your faith. And that's what I think people needed to hear from you today is it's not just like a quick dip into self-care.
Right.
You've really had to delve in to find more balance.
Oh yeah, I mean building new habits like a new lifestyle. I mean
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
doesn't happen overnight, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, choosing to stock up on quality foods
Yeah.
that are actually going to sustain you with
Yeah.
plenty of protein and
Yes.
healthy fats and,
Mm-hmm.
less sugar and all of that. Being intentional about hydrating.
Mm-hmm.
That's we all need
I'm
more
still
of
learning
that.
that
Oh
as
my
I told you
goodness.
this morning
But
in
it's
my
a habit you
class.
kind of
Yeah.
build, and
Yeah.
pretty soon it's, just second nature
Mm-hmm.
and the exercise, finding time, making it just a habit that becomes like just this is just who I am. I do
Mm-hmm.
this. I eat this. I sleep at these times. I work out every morning at this,
Mm-hmm.
like it just has to be like who you are. And I can even look at it and frame it as, well, if my number one need is social and I really want to take good care of this wife and these kids and be there for my church family and my friends and my extended family and everybody else, like I need to take care of myself
Yes,
for
that's what
them,
he's needed. Yes, that's really
even if
been
that's my
helpful.
number one, I could
Reason.
look at self-care like that.
Exactly.
But actually that's kind of what it was because I felt a lot of guilt. I
Yes.
felt a lot of shame
Mm-hmm.
about not being able
Mm-hmm.
to be the best husband during that season,
Mm-hmm.
when I was just racked with anxiety and fear. It was just not fun.
Which I did not feel, but you just
Yeah,
felt
it was
that
still as a man,
internally.
you're just like, so I'm really glad that's a thing in the past now. Thank God. And
Yes.
any of you who are dealing with that, I
Mm-hmm.
know there's a lot, especially with all that's going on in the world these days. Um, I'm over here on the other side, like, hey,
He's
it's
still
better over
waving.
here. There's hope.
Yes, this is true.
Come on over.
Yes.
You're gonna get here. Don't worry. You hang in there.
Yes, and he just gave you the recipe.
Yeah.
So that is a great question to now kind of help us to get to that other instinct. Sometimes people have a low instinct, like you did with the self-pres, a high instinct with the social. You have a middle instinct too. And for some of us here, it's that sexual or one-to-one instinct. How have you, now that you've balanced both of these others, really tried to be intentional about making time for one-to-one connections with your loved ones?
Mm. And I'm not like super savvy on the Enneagram stuff and the
That's okay.
instincts, but
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from you.
Yeah.
So when you say sexual, you don't just mean like physical sexual affection.
Right. That's one way of calling this creative. It's
Mhm.
like a reproducing instinct. Like I'm sharing my whole self right now. It's like,
Mhm.
I'm creating something with this person, whether it be we're friends and we're creating, what did we learn in
That's
church
just like
today?
creating a new
Filial
kid. You said
love, right?
reproduce, and we're not talking just that.
No, but if you're with your spouse, it could be that Eros love, right?
Right,
But
that's
all
part
the
of it.
different,
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, just connecting, yeah, one on one. So not necessarily making it a huge group
Yeah.
activity every
Just one
time,
to one. And I know
you
that can
know.
freak you out at times.
It not freak me out. It just again, it's like this weird guilt.
Yes.
Like I'm really enjoying this time, but
Am I allowed
these
to?
guys would enjoy it too. Why don't we invite them? It's like we could all be together. We could all do, like movies when the new movies come out.
Yes,
I
which I
always want to
love to
invite
go with a
big
group
group.
because that's like so easy for me to give to you. I'm like, yes, let's do a group for a movie.
Yeah. Interstellar came back out
Yeah.
on IMAX and did like crazy well, by the way. It's like grossing huge amounts and it's 10 years old.
Yeah, it's
But
wild.
but I wanted to bring a bunch of people.
Yeah.
We
And I was
invited
like, that sounds great because I'm just going to be at the
Yeah.
movie theater and I just wave and say
With
hello and
big
chat for a
movies
little
when they
while
come out like
after.
that, I'm always like, let's
Yeah.
make this a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how do I kind of console myself
Yeah.
that it's okay to be one to one? Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. That's a good way of saying it as a type one, also, because again, you
Mm,
have that I need to be doing the right thing. And if you're socially wired, then for you, the right thing feels like always socially, leading a group. That's what we say about the social
yeah,
one.
right. And I think this is kind of something I've had to deal with in my career as well, like with I think just maturing
Hmm.
and with life experience. I think people naturally, hopefully, see the value of one to one. You know, like I always dreamt that I was going to be this big public speaker. Remember that I'd be going around speaking to thousands or
Mhm.
millions, doing talks on this or that, um, and I still wouldn't mind opportunities like that. If
Mhm.
any of you have a need for a public speaker, no, I'm
Just
just
kidding,
kidding.
so you know.
No, no, no. But then it was like God was kind of like narrowing my focus over and over again.
Mhm.
So I became a science teacher for 6 years, and that you're just focusing on this group of kids. You got this group of kids, and you have no time for anything more than that.
Yeah.
And that was wonderful. It was great. I mean, to really invest in them, and see. But then further narrowed down, I we changed,
Mhm.
prayerfully to switch to medicine, and now I'm seeing, one patient at a time,
Yeah.
unless they try to slide in a twofer, with a spouse or something like, hey, can you see them too? But it's always like, one to one. And so you're like each
Mhm.
encounter,
It's a good
you
example.
have to focus on this person and give them your very
Wow.
best
Mhm.
every single time because that's what they deserve.
Mhm.
And so I've been kind of forced, with my career to see to focus in that way, and I see firsthand the value in
Mm.
that, you know,
So good.
that you have not necessarily as broad a coverage, but a
Mhm.
deeper, amount
Mhm.
of impact. And
Yes.
so that is crazy valuable.
Mhm.
And just in and of itself,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
but even in a way, you could think of it in the other aspect too, that, you know, like Jesus could have instantly broadcast his teaching to millions, billions, but he chose to invest in these 12
Mhm.
more than to others as far
Mhm.
as how much time. And it was like the best way because it's deep and it's going to last, and then they're going to do that, and then they're going
Mhm.
to do that, and it's like that rule of multiplication where
Mhm.
in my own life, investing in just a few people, but with all you have, and with giving them your full time and attention while they're in front of you and while you're with them, makes
Mm.
for a more substantial and lasting impact
Mm.
many times,
Mhm.
that then could be passed on
Mm.
to others, and it can spread out. Who knows how far and how long that would take, but just kind of trusting that
Mhm.
that is enough, and that
Mm.
that will happen. I think it's kind of a more mature way of looking at it.
Yeah, I think it's an act of faith. And that's what
Yeah.
I think
Mm,
switching from your main instinct to one of the other instincts really is it's not natural for you. But when you looked at this metaphor of
mm,
Christ,
yeah.
when you see it in your own life, you realize I'm going from this cool relationship of generality to a much deeper dive level. And that's worth something. And that
Hmm.
took some faith to get from
Yeah,
A to
that's
B.
right.
Um, that's
Take some
beautiful.
faith. It's an investment. It's
Mm-hmm.
a different kind of an investment. It's like, I'm really gonna pour in, all that I have and invest my full time and attention and all my love in this person right here and right now,
Yeah.
and trust that it's worth it to do that.
Yeah.
They're worth it
Yeah.
individually,
Yeah.
and it might even be that they share that with others, and that would be partly due to what I have done with this person, and so
Hmm.
on. So yeah, so I think that's part of the answer, is that maybe God's just maybe matured me over time, and I've just kind of learned from experience the value of that.
Hmm.
I definitely think being a parent, helps with that too, because you have to sacrifice a lot of time that you could spend on other people,
Hmm.
other friends or just other, endeavors, if I wanted other projects and stuff, in
Hmm.
order to give time to them.
Hmm.
And they're worth it, they're worth
Hmm.
every second. And so while they're right here with me, which won't be long, I want to
Hmm.
give them my very best, you
Yeah,
know?
that's good. You saw you do that every day this week that you had
Yeah.
off. You took each one for a breakfast.
Yeah. So I hope I can do that a whole lot more, but that's been, something that I think God has used to teach me this super important lesson that we are to focus on those people right here, right now that He puts in front of us, and give them our very best.
Hmm.
And if He chooses, maybe I'll speak to millions. Maybe one of these listeners will
Yes.
have that gig. But even if not, that's okay because what I'm doing is valuable in investing in that one to one, even
Yes.
if it's counterintuitive.
Yes. And I have brought you on millions of date nights by this point as well.
Yeah.
And I have been so thankful. I think that's kept us together
Oh, for
because I
sure.
would have been
Yeah.
like, I'm out of here if we were just social 24. I would have been like, hello, a little time for me. But it's been so good
Oh yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
have
That's
that
that's
time.
another really great example that marriage can't survive, let alone thrive if you're not investing and trusting that
Yes.
it's worth investing that time on a regular basis, one on one, date nights,
Yeah.
and you know,
Doesn't have to be
date
night, of
date
course.
days,
Yeah,
yeah,
breakfast.
lunches,
We had a
breakfast,
breakfast
just
one
just
this
taking
week.
time to spend together. Exactly. Yeah, we had a really great time. We went a couple times
Hmm.
just in the last few days, and
Yeah.
but we could also be spending time as a couple like we did last night with a big group of
Right. And
people
I
having a
do
party.
love that. I
That
love friend time too with
that's
other
fun,
couples. Yeah.
but we're not really going to be very good at that if we haven't first invested in each other, and
Yes.
made sure that we're
Yes.
doing well, keep it
Yes.
strong.
Yes, because some of the one-to-one time is repairing, is walking through conflict. And we always say, hey, this was good so that we could do the fun, big things that we love to do, whether it's put on a dance or a game or just having friends over. It's like you can't get to that, like you said, if you don't do the other. And you've helped me to just enjoy the social. I mean, I did in high school, but as anyone who's read my book knows, it was more like my own clique. And you've helped me to just really be inclusive, and that's been really fun. Really
Mm-hmm.
cool.
All the monsters, no
Yes.
matter what color they are, no matter
Which was so funny when
what
you
kind of
said
nose they
that.
have.
Because when I was little, I had a terrible dream that Snuffleupagus was chasing
Oh
my
my
mom and sister
goodness.
Abby, who's the three, and I, and he bit Abby's knee.
He
And
would
so
never do
I
that.
know,
Trust me.
I know, but it was like so funny when you said that. I was like, oh, some of the monsters are scary.
Oh my
But
goodness. That's funny.
anyway, such different temperaments.
Right.
So lastly, what would you say for those who are similarly wired to you, or just anyone who's like you said, it's not always this thing where you're like, it's so terrifying, but let's be honest, sometimes it is. It's terrifying at times. So whether it's terrifying or just mildly disruptive to change and shift into these instincts, what are a couple tips that you would just give to anybody to say, here's how you can keep those three balanced on a day to day or week by week basis as we end today?
Okay, good question. Wow. I mean, I guess it's about what you really want, what you really desire. Do you desire to be a healthy person, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in your relationships,
Mm-hmm.
in medicine, you got to have balance. You have to have homeostasis. There's got to be all these systems in balance,
Mm-hmm.
not just one demanding everything or the person gets sick.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be the most successful, the healthiest person you can be, then you need to balance these aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. And, again, I've learned some of this stuff by the hard way, and you might have as well. You might be going through some, trials right now where you've tested, you know, what is it like if I just focus on just self care and you see this doesn't work too well,
Mm-mm. No, statistically or Miller.
Yeah, there's nobody to really enjoy it with. And but what is it like though if I'm a social person, like a social one or social two or whatever, and you're like constantly serving
Mm-hmm.
all the time and you're not focusing on the people right in front of you. Well, those
Mm.
relationships suffer. And
Yeah.
then you're not going to be the best parent you could be or the best spouse you can be. And and
Hmm.
you're going to start feeling it. It's going to bite you
Yes.
back.
Yes.
And uh, and then as far as not just social or self-care, but also the one-to-one,
Hmm.
which is kind of an aspect of social, is just
Hmm.
remember that you don't just want to be like, you know, this deep and this wide. You want to make sure that you're taking some time to really invest in and create some deeper, more substantial relationships with those people that God's brought into your circle,
Hmm.
and everybody has one. Everybody, even if you've never been married, even if you don't have any children, even if you're not even near extended family or whatever, like there's people around everywhere,
Yep,
It's
it
a
could be
huge
the
planet.
person at the grocery store, like who
Seriously.
wants to exchange recipes with you, like I've had. It's
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. The Bob Goff story about the security guard who he
Hmm.
comes across all the time in the airport until pretty soon they're like family and he has them over
Oh,
for Thanksgiving. And
that's neat.
it's a wonderful story, but
Hmm.
it's like, seriously, there's people all around who are looking for one-to-one contact. And it doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm going to go on a coffee date with this security guard, but,
Yeah.
but like while you're in front of somebody, I'm checking out at the grocery store. I'm going to use this sweet old woman's name, and
Hmm.
say, how are you doing today, Debbie?
Hmm.
And I just want you to know that when we pray over our food at night as a family, we pray for you. We pray for the people who are helping us to get our food, whether they're cash
Hmm.
register cashiers or the farmers or the
Hmm.
delivery drivers or whatever, because every one of them works together so that we can sit down as a family and have a meal. One of the most important things in the whole world. You are important too. I hope you feel that today. And they smile and they say, "Okay, well, thank you." Wasn't expecting that, but that it actually makes them smile, makes them feel good, and that's kind of an example. I try to do that
Hmm.
to give people a one-to-one experience, even in the brief interactions that I have with them, and it just feels good. I feel like I'm doing something right.
Hmm.
It makes me feel good. It makes them feel good, and I feel healthier. When I live
Hmm.
like that.
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah, and that was a great way to end because you mixed all three instincts, but you also landed socially. And that's something I really wanted to remind everybody of is whichever of these three you're really good at, you are a model to others of that.
hmm,
And so if you're like me and you're really good at the self-pres, that's why I've been a therapist and coach all these years because
yeah,
everyone who's come to me for the last 20 years was always lacking that
hmm,
and just needed more tools. Even I did because I thought
yeah,
it should be that I was running really fast and I was leading all the Bible studies to get self
hmm,
care. And then I realized, oh, this is what self care means. It means quiet, laying down, taking a rest. That was foreign to me,
hmm,
but I was trying to produce self care all those years. And for you, it might be you're really good at the one to ones and you still have things to learn about that, but
hmm,
you also are such a great model. So just
hmm,
remember to, continue to learn with us here. I
hmm,
have
yeah,
a sale on my Instinct freebie today that you can see in the show notes. I actually have a freebie and a sale.
excellent.
And I also do this a lot. We talk about this a lot. And I just want you to make sure that you continue to learn and grow with us in
Hmm,
2025 or whenever you're listening, because we'll keep doing this. And thank you for
excellent.
being part of it today, Wes. This was great
Oh,
to
what a
have you.
pleasure. Seriously. Thank you for asking me these deep and important questions. Good for me to think about this stuff. And I hope that it blessed somebody. I hope,
Yes,
hope hope one of
it
you
did.
heard this and
Hmm.
learned from it, and
Hmm.
we would really love to hear,
Hmm.
feedback.
Yes,
I'd love to meet a
please.
new friend
Yes. An email for
online and
Enneagram.
say, "Hey, wow, that was a blessing." That would be awesome.
Yes, or you
Very
can leave a
cool.
review on Apple Podcasts and say you love the episode with Wes and want more of those. We love knowing, we love accuracy of what really helps, and you are a blessing. So
Thank you, sweet.
know
You are
that,
too.
and I really appreciate you. So, all right, thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Have a Merry Christmas. You know where to find our resources if you need last minute gift ideas. So thankful for you all year. As we said, make sure you leave a review at Apple Podcast. If this episode touched you, if Time with Wes touched you, if you have more questions for Wes or want to encourage him, I will pass it on to him. You can write me at Christa at enneagramandmarriage.com and I'll make sure he gets it. All right, talk to you later. Thanks for being you. Bye bye.